Todo soy gitana, ¿no? Y es un poco, te duele que te asocien a la marginación y a la delincuencia y al ir mal ¿no? A lo que es la exclusión.
Roma have been part of Europe for so many hundred years, but at the same time they are perceived as immigrants, as aliens in so many countries, just for their coming from East European countries.
Que la cultura gitana siempre está asociada a la marginación, a la delincuencia, y hay que tener muy claro que una cosa es cultura de la marginación y otra es cultura gitana.
A lot of stigmatization is taking place in countries such as France, Italy, Germany, the Netherlands.
Pero el mundo en general engloba a los gitanos, a los romas, en una misma situación, de una misma condición y de una misma forma. Y los romas, al igual que todos los ciudadanos del mundo, pues somos muy diferentes y muy diversos.
Generally, the situation is very bad for the Roma in Europe, characterized by social exclusion, inadequate access to housing, health, employment, and education, most importantly of all.
Discrimination is a very strong reality, especially here in Romania, or be it in Hungary and Czechoslovakia, the Czech Republic and Slovakia, because of the fact that there has been no contact throughout the centuries between Roma and the majority.
La situación en Europa es muy diversa, depende mucho de las políticas de cada país. Todos los niños en España, el 90% de los gitanos españoles están escolarizados, cosa que no pasa en otros países de Europa, como Hungría, como Eslovaquia, pues yo veo más bien políticas de no integración.
You can see it like in the case study of Sliven in Bulgaria, or in the case of Cluj in Transylvania, Romania, where the Roma neighborhoods are to be found near the garbage dump of the cities. And many people, the majority of the population has never been there or are not even aware of these communities existing, and people living in extreme or at least severe poverty conditions.
In Eastern Europe, the situation is much more desolate in some ways, also because of the numbers, but also because of the lack of respect for human rights, for citizenship rights, for access, basically denial of access to, basic sort of education, housing and health.
We have witnessed that there is indeed a strong difference between policies in Central and East European countries that are basically segregational than in Western countries who are trying to have intercultural policies.
The difference is basically that in Eastern Europe there's less sort of will basically to provide access and basic rights actually, and in Western Europe there is some will, but yes, the problem is not as big. I think it's also to do with numbers.
It's really hard to make politicians to work for Roma people. They prefer Roma people to be not very well educated because it's easier to manipulate them. I believe in that because a lot of politicians get interested with Roma people just around elections, and they promise a lot of good things for Roma communities, and after elections it happens nothing.
The EU is unfortunately not doing enough for the Roma situation. It has a number of tools, EU laws, which prohibit discrimination against the Roma, but these laws are not well implemented at national level, and the EU does not sufficiently condemn such national practices.
The European Commission asked each member state to draw up a plan, a framework, on integration of Roma in their country. And this has to be drawn up until 2011. So Germany, England, France, they all have to come up with a plan.
I think that concrete policies are the solution, so this is why we have chosen to approach during the forum not the issue of anti-discrimination and cultural perspectives that are very controversial and do not necessarily lead to short-term solutions, but the ideas of housing and education where civil society can play an active role.
Civil society can force and put pressure on the EU to address these issues and for the European institutions to condemn national governments who are not applying EU law.
Civil society could gather evidence, could look at things, could become attentive to these issues and raise awareness, but also gather evidence, because this will have to be used in court later on. And I think more court cases should come up because positive results will spark more exigent action.
So what we are doing here is trying to connect the local perspectives of Roma integration, of Roma housing policies and educational policies from European cities and other Roma communities to the European decision-making levels, and see how European citizens from different countries in their quality of European citizens can act together so as to influence policy making and come up with deep, authentic and common positions in what Roma rights are concerned, especially housing and education.